We have more information to give you on the OceanGate Titan submersible implosion, as well as we're going to review what's inside the liability waiver that OceanGate made people sign before they took them down onto the Titanic. And we're going to answer more of your tough questions on the Titan submarine disaster. Now here's one we got a boatload of comments from it. You know, most of my engineering disaster videos attract a lot of conspiracy theory people. So there's a lot of people asking, why wasn't there coverage to these other disasters that happened, or these mass shootings where more than 5 people were killed, or ferry accidents where dozens of people were killed? And a lot of people keep saying it's because they're trying to get the mainstream media to stop covering the Hunter Biden story, so that it'll just get minimal coverage and it'll get swept under the carpet, while this much bigger story of the Titanic implosion takes all the headlines away from it. And then as an engineer, I'm almost embarrassed for them at what happened here on a previous dive when they got all the way down to the Titanic and they realized they couldn't thrust forward or backward. They had a problem there.
Is something wrong with my thrusters?
Range and bearing to bow.
Am I spinning?
Yes,
I am?
yes.
Looks like it.
Now you're going north.
When I'm thrusting forward, one of the thrusters is thrusting backwards right now. So the only thing I can do right now is a 360.
What would cause that to go back?
They swapped out one of the thruster
So they
motors.
mounted it the wrong way? I mean, it's unidirectional thruster, right?
Yeah, it should be, but something happened.
So on the controller, you have the up, down, left, right arrows, and you could set them so that one was going, and then every time you hit the button, you would go forward. Yeah, except I don't remember which one's up and down. I know that one does the left and right. It might work, yeah. Yeah, left and right might be forward and back.
Alter track by 90 degrees.
I would crab steer.
Okay, just say rotate the controller. It's a lot easier if you just rotate the controller and then you've got it. Because if right is forward, then left is back.
Rotate controller.
Between going back and forth between the submersible and the topside support vessel, it turns out that we think they mounted the thruster backwards or reversed or something incorrectly on the side of the vessel there. So that's why they weren't going the way they thought they were going. They were going around in circles. So this is just really hokey when the solution to the problem is to rotate the controller in your hand and then use it. And it took a bunch of people, including an engineer, to come to this conclusion and figure that out. I mean, this is just ridiculous. How do things like that happen? A lot of people told me that the previous video that I showed on the transcript, that, well, this is what proves the transcript is fake, because they only talk in code. They use these 3-character acronyms, and they look off of some lookup chart that shows them what to type in. But yet this video clearly shows that they do talk in sentences. And it was during this scene that was filmed by the BBC. They had a crew down there with them. This is where you can see, like I showed in my previous video, this is where you can see a quick sample of the text messages going back and forth between the sub and the support vessel up top. And it proves that they do indeed sometimes talk in full sentences. So I happen to have a copy here of the waiver that OceanGate makes you sign before they take you down on the Titanic. So let's take a look at what's inside. You'll be totally blown away. So this shows the steps that OceanGate took to really protect themselves and to separate themselves from any type of international oversight from any country. So right here, it says that you've applied to participate in the survey expedition arranged by OceanGate Expeditions. And here is it says right here, a company registered in the Bahamas. So they're not in the Bahamas, they're not in Canada, they're not in the US, so nobody really has any kind of rule over them as far as I can tell here. It tells you where it's going to embark from Newfoundland, Canada, and it says from there participants will travel for the most part aboard non-United States flagged vessels right there. And it'll be in international waters. It says right here, it tells you where the Titanic is. And right here, you can see what they're starting to tell you. Here they're giving you some introduction, but this is the part here that you want to take a look at. It says here, a portion of the expedition will be conducted inside an experimental submersible vessel that will dive 3,800 meters to the Titanic. It says here, the experimental submersible vessel has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and is constructed of materials that have not been widely used for manned submersibles. So here, they're coming right out. They're being very forthright about it. They're telling you exactly everything that's going on. And they're telling you also that it's done less than 90 dives so far. Here's the first mention of death. It says, when diving below the ocean surface, this vessel will be subject to extreme pressure, and any failure of the vessel while I am aboard could cause me severe injury, disability, emotional trauma, or other harm, or death. I don't know why they repeated disability twice. I guess that was an oversight there. And it says here, I understand that I may decline to participate in any dive below the ocean surface or any of the expedition at any time. They will not give you your money back if you decline once you get out there. That's it. They're telling you here that the support ship vessel is an industrial vessel not designed for passenger operations and has many hazards, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so this is not going to be like you're going to the Boca Raton Resort, folks. This is as rugged as it gets. This is probably a lot closer to like rugged tuna. And again, they're telling you, in addition to the expedition, I may board small vessels and other equipment that could expose me to property damage, injury, disability, or death. And then here, item 5, it says, if I choose to assist in the servicing or operation of the submersible vessel, I will be exposed to risks associated with high-pressure gases, pure oxygen servicing, high-voltage electrical systems, and other dangers that could lead to property damage, injury, disability, emotional harm, or death of myself or others. And then here in number 6, they're warning you that the expedition will take place in international waters at great distance from the nearest hospital. So it could be forever before you get to any kind of help if something happens. And here it says, I acknowledge that all travel in or around water on vessels of any type, including submersibles, entails known and unanticipated risks that could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, and you guessed it, death, harm to myself or third parties, or damage my property or the property of others. And it says, even though they're giving me adequate training right here, I understand that all risks cannot be eliminated from the expedition. The risks that remain despite training in the presence of these skilled people are this, and they list all of these, and of course, failure of the submersible leading to death, or serious injury, or other physical or mental harm. Then number 8 here, they're making you acknowledge that representatives of OceanGate explained everything to you, that they've been available to answer all the questions and more fully explain to me the physical demands of the expedition, as well as the risks, hazards, and dangers associated with the expedition. So they're really trying to allow for every possible failure mode you can think of so that you can't come back and sue them later. It says, I understand that the foregoing description of these risks is not complete and that other unanticipated inherent risks may occur. Then it says, I am voluntarily participating in the expedition with a full knowledge of the facts set forth above, including the described risks and unknown risks. Here they're trying to lump you and all of your heirs, distributees, assignees, guardians, personal representatives, anything that could possibly have anything to do with you that could come back after them, collectively called the releaser. They hereby release, waive, right here, see, and forever discharge OceanGate Expeditions and its owner, OceanGate, blah, 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 all of their people that were releasing, waive, and forever discharge all of these dudes, and that's a long list of dudes to release, and they're calling them a released party. So we're releasing them from all liabilities, actions, claims, demands, costs, losses, or expenses which I or my heirs, distributees, guardians, legal representatives, blah, 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 or resulting in my death, right here, arising out of or in any way connected with my participation in the expedition, including travel to and from the expedition site. This pretty much here says that no matter what they do, we cannot come and sue them. So this waiver right here essentially says that no matter what they do to us, we cannot come back and sue them, and nor can any of our families or anybody related to us. Then at the end here it says, I hereby assume full responsibility for the risk of my bodily injury, disability, death, blah, blah, blah. So this means it's my fault if I die. Then right here it says, I am voluntarily participating in the aforementioned activity. And again, it just keeps on over and over again, keeps on just repeating and repeating that I am aware of these risks, and I could have suffering, illness, disfigurement, temporary or permanent disability, and death. Of course, death. I understand that these injuries or outcomes may arise from my own or others' negligence. Like, look at this. May arise from my own or others' negligence. I assume all related risks, both known and unknown. I don't know why they have to keep repeating all of these unknown and known and death and all that. Now, how do you like this one here? I hereby agree to defend, indemnify, save, and hold harmless OceanGate for any loss, blah, 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 or attorney's fees. So that means that, what does this mean? I have to go and pay for their defense in court too? I have to defend them? So it's amazing how much of this CYA that OceanGate has put into this liability waiver here that they make you sign. And here, it's saying right here in the contract, this is an interesting feature too, because it says here, I further agree that my participation in this expedition does not give rise to an employer-employer relationship and does not bind OceanGate Expedition to provide any form of workers' compensation, health insurance, or benefits. And that's sort of the ironic part, because what they're telling everybody else, and including telling you, is that you are a mission specialist. You're not a tourist, you're a mission specialist. That's how they skirt the law in Canada, where they probably wouldn't allow you out as a tourist in a uncertified vessel like that. Now here you're giving them permission to give you first aid if something happens. Here they're covering their butt again from any types of outside transportation companies they may use. And it says here, I have had sufficient opportunity to read this entire document. In signing this document, I acknowledge that if I die, am hurt, or incur property damage, I may be found by a court of law to have waived my right to maintain a lawsuit against OceanGate. Wow. I hereby acknowledge that I have carefully read this waiver release and fully understand that it is a release of liability. So it's like they're just saying the same thing over and over and over again. I don't know why. And we'll continue to upload more videos for you to give you more information as we get more news releases and stuff like that on the Titan implosion. And if you haven't seen our previous ones, make sure you binge watch those as well. If you want to be up to date and be alerted when we upload a new video, make sure you subscribe below and click that bell icon. That will alert you so you don't miss a single video. And thank you so much for joining us again tonight, folks, and we'll see you on the next one.